Hopefully this is working. Took me a while to get this on. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back to my live stream. This is Jacob Cast 2024. Going to do my WWE Monday Night Raw live stream. My podcast, my review. Um, Hit that like button, leave a comment, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all the support. Let me know in the comment section y'all want to see more. We are going to talk about Monday Night Raw. We'll talk about the news and rumors in WWE, the upcoming shows, some of the matches for next week, like Lyra and Roxanne and some other matches. Now we know that this week we got the WWE World Collide on Friday live in Mexico. I'm not sure if it's in Mexico, but live on YouTube. And I will review that this week. Next week is the go home show for WrestlePalooza. Monday Night Raw was kind of a boring show, just filler matches and nothing interesting. The only thing that was interesting, the only big storyline is CM Punk and Seth Rollins. The only big thing was that they finally announced the mid tag team with Punk and AJ against Becky and Seth, husband and wife against husband and wife. Everything else was just filler, some filler segment. There's some storyline development with the Judgment Day, and there's some with the Usos, Jey Uso possibly acting like he becoming Roman Reigns. The way how the show ended, he's acting like Roman Reigns. So yeah. Now these were the matches that were announced. Now I know they don't have Grande Americano, but I use HM. We had him versus AJ Styles. AJ Styles got the victory that opened the show. We got Lyra versus Raquel. Raquel got the win and pretty good match. Now they didn't have Penta and Rusev on the game, so I used Ray and Otis. But I think who won here? I think it was Rusev who beat Penta. And a pretty good match. Rusev is at least he won in matches. Now they didn't. I couldn't get Nikki Bella. So I had used Natalia to take her place, but on Monday Night Raw, Nikki Bella, she's still wrestling. She's still in the ring. She wrestled Asuka tonight in a pretty good match. And Asuka got the win. She tapped out Nikki. The main event was Bronson Reed and LA Knight. Bronson Reed got the victory. Pretty good match. Nice win for Bronson Reed. After that's when we had the brawl with Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker and beat up LA Knight. Then Jimmy Uso came out. And out of nowhere, Jey Uso came out and speared LA Knight. Is he turning heel or something? What is he doing? We just don't know. Yeah. Okay, so, now let's get into the news and rumors here. We got, no DQ.
Rollins said that they could just make it easy. All AJ had to do was...
Now, my video has been sponsored by, Fight for Pro Wrestling with Sean Wassap, No DQ, The Joe Cronin Show, Salamat the Sound Off, Good My Work Commentary, JD from New York, Anthony Salcedo. I got more on the way. Hit that like button, leave a comment, please subscribe to my channel.
Give the belt back. AJ had a better idea. Said that Becky could come in the ring and risk getting another black eye, or AJ said she'll give it back if they agree to a tag team match. Rollins said he calls the shots, not her. He said he's going to take the title, and that will be the end of it. He got in the ring. AJ stood in front of the title, blocked Rollins from attempting to grab the title, and then CM Punk showed up, walked right past Becky Lynch, and got in the ring, went for the GTS on Rollins, but Rollins escaped, and then Rollins did agree to the match.
To touchdown. Guys, what are the odds that Cole Kmet is that?
For a limited time, get any pizza with any...
I would like to see Jimmy get inspired and try to do something. Jay was always kind of the star there, but I actually liked how that ended. Didn't care much for the promo that started the show. I really loved LA Knight's promo.
We had Dominic Mysterio calls out Vikingo before World Collide, and then we got Rhea confront Asuka in a heated backstage. Yeah, Rusev, Crosby, Penta, and drilling Matt.
You really noticed how much,
Which is such a huge contrast.
Fuck is Jay's picture on there, and I'm like, damn, guys. People would have been mad if I didn't include Jay, and they were mad that I included Jay, and I was like, damn, poor Jay. Thank you so much, Terrence Matthews, for the love. Really appreciate that. Alrighty, guys. Well, we gotta go ahead and take a break though, and when we return, we'll kind of go kill some time. Then you can get yourself some food and whatnot. Alright, let's see what else we got here. We got Kieran, who's also here. What's up, Kieran? And what I liked about this too was that when AJ Lee went out there and she was cutting her promo, she didn't come across as robotic. She didn't come across as, hey, I'm back and I'm scripted and hear me cut a
Like
WWE
Nikki Bella.
promo.
Like Nikki Bella. I'm just call it what it is. Like Nikki Bella.
Right, okay, like Nikki Bella. You don't want her to go out there and be like, this is the script that they wrote for me and I'm now saying the words and I haven't had experience in 10 years. Whatever. No, she didn't do that. Instead, she went out there and it was like talking to a regular person and having a regular conversation. Hey, I've been gone for 10 years. This is what I did in 10 years. And talking about her mental health journey. And a part of me, Santi, kind of wanted to hear more. I wasn't ready for her to shift into the character portion. I wanted to hear more about what she did during those 10 years and all of the projects and everything that she was involved in because she was gone for so long. And that was the thing that we knew was going to happen with this promo where it was, okay, you have so many things that they had to get done in this 25-minute promo that they did. You had to have AJ Lee go out there and address, hey, I've been gone for 10 years, this is who I am, and I'm back. But then she also had to address Becky Lynch and the feud that she's doing, which like you said, is an entirely different thing to do. You're in character. They had to issue the challenge for WrestlePalooza, accept the challenge for WrestlePalooza, but also have the melee and the drama unfold there. So they really packed a lot into this very lengthy segment. But again, it left me wanting to hear more about AJ Lee and where she's been at and what she's been doing. And part of me hopes that, I don't know who's going to be the first person to like sit down and have an interview with AJ Lee where you can actually hear about her time away from WWE. But if they do one on TV in WWE with like Jackie Redmond or somebody, I really hope they do something like that because I feel like a lot of fans want to know more. Like, hey, what was it like when you came back and just everything? And maybe she does a podcast with Stephanie McMahon. I don't know.
Oh, you know that's gonna happen. Absolutely. Brought to you by Surfshark, of course, with Stephanie McMahon. I'm sure we'll get that. I'm sure we'll get more of the personal side of the pursuit of the signing of AJ Lee when we get to WWE Unreal. I'm confident that that's probably going to be like an entire episode, like the return of AJ Lee. I would not be surprised. But yeah, no, like I'm so excited for this match. I do find it hilarious, by the way, and this isn't. It happened in this, but it's happened a couple of times now. With how silly the name WrestlePalooza is.
Oh, yeah.
When I read it, I'm like, oh, it's fine, whatever, WrestlePalooza. But then like hearing like, you and me, serious fight right here at WrestlePalooza. It's like, oh god, I hate that name.
Sounds very 2000s, doesn't it? So, but I do know that like a lot of people do go and like take that stuff seriously. Like they leave reviews and such.
Yeah. So what happened on Monday Night Raw? Now that was the only thing that really was interesting on this show was that whole segment to announce the mid tag team match with Becky, Seth, AJ, and Punk. Now AJ Lee was carrying Becky Lynch's IC title. Becky and Seth shocking the rival when they came out Both of them wear similar clothing. They wore sunglasses. Now the show opened up with LA Knight and I think Jey Uso. LA Knight brings the fight to the Vision to help. Well, I think the Usos opened the show. Jimmy and Jay, they opened the show. And then they had a brawl with the Vision with Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, and LA Knight helped them. And Jaden Wise helped. Jay didn't like it. AJ Styles beat Grande Americano, got revenge for having last week after he was screwed out of the IC title. Raquel brutalized Lyra Valkyria in statement. Next week on Raw. Now we know that Monday Night Raw next week will be at 7 o'clock. It'll be at 7 o'clock Eastern time. It will come up pretty early. An hour early. And next week we'll get Roxanne Perez and Lyra Valkyria next week. Now we did get AJ Styles. I think this had to be after his match. Or was it before? I think it was after. AJ Styles goes off on Monday Night Raw officials. AJ Lee says she more about my husband. AJ Lee stepped away for mental health. Becky Lynch will call it chicken. Crowd chant, you suck. Then we get Rusev crosses Penta and Sterling Matt. Nikki Bella collided with Asuka. Dominic calls off Vikingo before World Collide. I wonder who can win that. Dominic might win because he lost last time because he got screwed because of AJ Styles. He also took the pinfall in that fatal 4-way, so there's no way he's gonna get pinned unless he gets screwed over by Finn Balor or something, and something that gonna lead to something. Maybe him and Finn might feud. Or they might do it to make history or shock value, where Dominic holds the AAA Mega title while being the Intercontinental Champion. They could do that.
And really state their opinions like on every show. I don't ever vote.
I'm a concerned citizen right now for Stephanie Vaquer.
Dude, I don't know what to say because she was doing everything right. Everything. She got over with the people without barely saying a word. They made a whole buzz around her. They had her win this battle royal at Evolution. Gave her this big moment. She was wrestling on Raw before she was even a main roster superstar. She was just getting so much buzz and hype, and it seemed like the company was going, okay, cool, let's push you. Let's pull you up on this pedestal. And suddenly, it's just all disappeared right before our eyes. Now, I can't say all because she still has the match at WrestlePalooza, but what the hell is going on that they did not do this contract signing?
Denise, have you seen the show Love is Blind?
Hold on. Now, John Cena's final match will not be in Boston. I think it will be, I don't know when. It might be in Washington in December. John Cena's final Boston appearance will be in November. Saturday main event is on November 1st. Now, we know that AJ Lee returns. He signed a multi-year deal. She'll be wrestling full-time along with her husband. Here's Just Alex, another podcaster, who's in the chat as well. Okay. There's also Weezy Blonde who's in the super chat. Is that it?
In over 10 years, as she did make her triumphant return to SmackDown. It's all anybody's been talking about all weekend long. So we had a feeling, and we all pretty much saw the writing on the wall here based on what they did at Clash in Paris and Friday night on SmackDown, that at WrestlePalooza we would in fact get a
to continue her flame. They don't know how to continue her buzz. She's got all the tools, everything, but they don't know how to continue it. And that is where I'm like kind of panicky.
But like, why call her up? Like, she's doing perfectly fine in NXT. There was no need for Stephanie Baquet yet. There really wasn't. The roster was deep enough to run a while longer without Stephanie or Julia, right? Without either of them on the main roster. They should have just kept them both on NXT, running wild there for a little while in the main event scene, North American Championship, blood feud storylines with like the Blake Monroes of the world, good feuds with Jordan Graces of the world, Sol Ruka. But no, they instead decided to pull the trigger clearly, entirely, way too quickly on both of them.
Yeah.
Where
they wanted the pop, Santi. That's all it was.
100%. They wanted the pop, and they had no direction, blueprint in place for either of these two. And it's such a shame because like the toothpaste is out of the tube, right? You can't put it back in. You can't be like, go back down to NXT. No.
Get Stephanie out. Exactly. What is happening?
They're gonna fuck this up. They're gonna take Stephanie Baquet, a sure thing, a lock, and they're gonna fuck it up. They just are. They're going to. She could win the world championship, and they're gonna lock her away in this tower to never be seen again. I'm nervous. I'm scared. I'm concerned. I'm a concerned citizen right now for Stephanie Baquet.
Dude, I don't know what to say because she was doing everything right. Everything. She got over with the people without barely saying a word. They made a whole buzz around her. They had her win this battle royal at Evolution. Gave her this big moment. She was wrestling on Raw before she was even a main roster superstar. She was just getting so much buzz and hype, and it seemed like the company was going, okay, cool, let's push you. Let's pull you up on this pedestal. And suddenly, it's just all disappeared right before our eyes. Now, I can't say all, because she still has the match at WrestlePalooza, but what the hell is going on that they did not do this contract signing?
Denise, have you seen the show Love is Blind?
No, I don't watch reality love programs.
I watch a lot of it.
Oh,
and
no, Santi.
Usually what
happens...
happens...
like mush after those things.
Yeah.
I want to root for Stephanie, but now I fear they may have forgotten that reason since they haven't seen her that often. And that's where I'm like, oh no, this is not good.
Red flags everywhere. Red flags everywhere.
Teardrop. We got Jacob Tatum here who says, is AJ Lee instantly the top babyface, or is it still Rhea Ripley and Stephanie Baquer versus Io Sky match? Will be awesome, but needs a better build to it. I mean, it needs a build. What's the build? What's the build? Naomi got pregnant? That's the build right now? Like, there's nothing else. What is it? And it's such a bummer to see that, but I know the match is going to kick ass when it actually happens, so there's at least that. But instantly top babyface, yeah, AJ Lee and Rhea Ripley. I don't know. I mean, I can't really say one is above the other because they're both so incredibly popular, but yeah, those would be the top. Thank you so much, Jake. Santi, last week I read the cards wrong. I thought the card said LA Knight was going to turn heel, but it looks like it may be Jey Uso. I don't know if I'm jumping off a ledge here, but now that's a theory. He may have been listening a little too much to Roman Reigns, because after he had that conversation with Roman Reigns, he sort of has had different actions. He super kicked CM Punk that one time when he didn't even really need to do that. Went out there today and took out LA Knight when he didn't necessarily have to do that. Jimmy even threw a shot at him and said, "You're sounding just like Roman." So, is this going to be now, we went from the rise of Jey Uso to now the downfall of Jey Uso, and I don't mean that like literally, I mean that on storyline purposes. What do we think?
I'm interested. It seems rather sudden to see, the Yeet guy, the glasses with Yeet across them, all of a sudden kind of like turn a switch. And I wasn't buying it at first, but now with Jimmy there, I am buying it a little bit more. And I think it's because Jimmy's just a better wordsmith, is better at telling a story with words. And it was so clear in the promo where I made the joke. I'm like, when Jimmy cuts the fantastic promo on the bronze, and then Jay just goes, "That's right, 4 letters, 1 word, yeet." I'm like, Jay.
He had a few words in there. They did a little back and forth in there, but yeah, you're right. Yeah.
All Jay did was sign his name to the project that Jimmy Uso did all by himself, and then handed it in and tried to get full marks for it. But because Jimmy is there, and Jimmy is such a much better wordsmith and a better storyteller with words, I think this story can now flourish a little bit more and make more sense without it being so sudden and so random. So I'm here for it. I'm interested in it. I'm gonna let it play out. But I still just, at the end of the day, all I'm seeing out of the main event scene is the same shit, just different week, with the Vision and some variation of the same baby faces.
Yeah, the promo work with Jimmy and Jay, far better with Jimmy. I did notice that immediately, too. I did like the back and forth where we were filling each other's words, and that was pretty funny. Did you notice that Braun Breaker moment when he did the, "I'm so mad"?
Yeah.
Because
Experience decking done differently with mineral-based earthstone technology from Decorators. Designing
the other tag team partner, and he's like, "Okay, all cool, no problem, things happen, shit happens." I mean, that's very, very rare, where you see miscommunication and it never amounts to anything. Usually there's always a reason for them doing it, and that's with tag team partners. But when baby faces have to team up to fight a common enemy, this is a lot of the same typical type of stuff they do, and it just drives me nuts that Jey Uso would be so angry about LA Knight. Like, didn't he go back to the back and watch that opening segment? And he thought that LA Knight deliberately pushed Reed into him, or whatever the hell happened there. He was just freaking out about it. I'm like, dude, it's wrestling, just go back and watch the tape. You can see what his intentions were. So all that stuff just really lacks logic, but it was the way Uso speared LA Knight, and he was just kind of looking at his brother, and I'm like, he's not going to go outside the ring and join Breaker and them, is he? I was like, no, because he's been fighting with them all night. But I wasn't really sure what was going on there. But it's just, baby faces not getting along. Whoop-de-doo, right? Anyway, good to see Zane G in the house. Melissa Hernandez is here. Rodrigo Martinez. Good to see FRGN. Happy to see you, man. Yeah, excited for the mixed tag match as well. What was the last big one we had? I know there was the mixed match challenge. Let's just forget about that. That doesn't count. Ronda and Angle, and
it's in the description down below. But it would be far below me to use this as a way to plug BetterHelp.com/Salamonster. But yeah, she was incorporating that into her promo tonight and talking about the issues that she's had in the past and how other people are suffering from the same thing, and you too can overcome it. It was a very uplifting message from AJ Lee. But that wasn't the only thing that she had to say. She talked about Becky Lynch putting her hands on her husband. And Becky Lynch came out, and we had the back and forth for the first time between AJ and Becky. And then Seth Rollins came out, and CM Punk was on the show, although very, very limited, but he was on the show. And at the end of all of this, we got the match that we all expected that we would get for WrestlePalooza, which is the mixed tag team match. It is now official. CM Punk and AJ Lee will be tag team partners to take on Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. So that now is official. We also had the other AJ on the show, AJ Styles, who had a match But also there was a bit of an interesting worked shoot promo that you may not have seen because it aired during the commercial break. And we will talk about that. And a potential story direction that seems to be developing here for AJ Styles, which could be interesting. If they really explore this, I mean, I don't know where this may be leading, but it could be interesting. Jey Uso. The end of tonight's show. Jey Uso came off like a real piece of shit. I'm just going to say it. He came off like a real asshole. The final parting image that we had on Raw tonight was Jey Uso spearing LA Knight, who was in the main event tonight against Bronson Reed. LA Knight and Jey Uso have had their issues in recent weeks. LA Knight has come to the aid of Jey Uso before, and Jey Uso left this man laying with a spear. Now, is this a Jey Uso heel turn? Is it hinting at a Jey Uso heel turn? No. No, they're not going to turn Jey Uso heel. They'll just as soon turn LA Knight heel before they turn Jey Uso heel. Especially that they're doing an Usos reunion right now. But it's a bit of character development for Jey Uso that I think is sorely needed on this show. Instead of him just coming out there and being the Yeet Man and they're not really being anything much to it. They're trying to develop the character a little bit. He's almost acting more Roman Reigns-esque. So it could be interesting. I like that they're at least trying something different with Jey Uso. So, we'll see where that goes. But the other match that was made official for WrestlePalooza was involving the Usos, who are now officially going to reunite to take on Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. So, both matches that were added to the WrestlePalooza card tonight, both tag team matches. But those are now official. The one thing that we were supposed to get on the show that we did not get was a contract signing for the Women's World Championship match at WrestlePalooza. We have no Women's World Champion right now. The title is vacant, but we now know the match is going to be Io Sky and Stephanie McMahon. We were supposed to have a contract signing for that match. There was no contract signing because there was no Stephanie McMahon. I said she's been a ghost on this show. And she was a ghost again tonight. I don't know why. I don't know what happened. I hope if it's anything legitimate that she couldn't be there. I hope it's nothing serious. But we did not get that segment. You should also just keep in mind, and I've said this last week, I'll remind you again, Raw next week is starting early. Raw next week starts at 7 Eastern instead of 8. And it will be that way for the next 3 weeks. And possibly longer. But they were really just pushing next week's show as starting at 7 Eastern. So just be aware of that, because that means that I'll be going live an hour earlier as well. Because Raw is going to be ending at, 9:30. Which means I'll be here with you at 10 instead of 11 next Monday. Something to look forward to. But yes, this is your Monday Night Raw review. Again, it is September 8th, 2025. I am the Solomon. So thank you for hanging out with me here on a Monday night. Like and subscribe if you would be so kind. Super chats are open. You will see them popping up on your screen. I do appreciate all the support.
Oh my gosh.
Enough of these damn commercials, man. Jeez.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
That really surprised me, and I thought, all right, cool. We're getting someplace. We're getting something.
Using it like a rotten.
I'm a zombie the whole day.
Zombie. I didn't make the joke.
Have to acknowledge the Raiders. Chargers will.
I've mentioned this lots of times over the years, like when somebody debuts or they come up from NXT or they're newer, or maybe even a return after a long time.
Something to that effect. Wade Barrett is on vacation. He has, or at least he had pre-scheduled time off. He'll be back before the month is over, but he's got a couple of weeks off. And then Wade will be back. I assume it'll be Wade and Joe Tess on Monday nights, because Michael Cole and Corey Graves now are doing SmackDown. Tessitore is doing college football on Saturdays, so I guess it's just easier for him to do Monday instead of Friday. So that's the announce shakeup. Jimmy and Jay. They entered together. Actually, Jay entered first from the concourse, and then once he got into the crowd, Jimmy came out of the tunnel and was right there with him. So the Usos are back together. And the Usos, they came down to the ring.
I don't think people want to watch the same main event that you've given us now for 5 straight months. AJ Lee's back on Raw for the first time in 10 years. she's the Intercontinental Champion. She's not. She got her match.
That type of scenario. We got Crazy here who says, Baby Orton bet not have trapped our Stephanie. What?
Well, let's mention some sad news here. Apparently, Wardlow has been injured again. As soon as he makes his return after all of that time off, he was injured, and it's believed to be suffered in his return at Forbidden Door, and he's believed to have suffered a torn pec. This story was broke today by Fightful Select. I didn't have the entire article pulled up because that was pretty much the gist of it, but I did want to...
Punk, etc. Are these the last hell freezes over moments left that need to happen? Mox, Page, Jericho, Matt. I'm pretty sure Jericho. Jericho will probably go to WWE. I'm still feeling that way.
Gotta add Monet in there.
Mercedes, you think she'll go back?
I think so eventually. She's still really young.
Been cracking jokes about Paul Heyman, calling him an orca instead of an oracle because he's fat like a whale. Get it? And then he quoted Hangman Page.
I don't know if he'll go back. He seems pretty happy with AEW, but who knows? Paige, I mean, I think she would go back if they made her an offer. I don't know if they have or if they haven't, but I'm pretty sure she would go back if the opportunity came up for sure. Thank you so much, JF Cal. He also says, thank you, Jack Perry, for AJ and Punk returning to WWE. I know you know, you know, you know. No, wait, if you know, you know, you know. There you go. I still can't believe it, man. Jungle
It's just
Boy.
if you know, you know. You're saying too much.
I said it too much. I know.
Yeah, you're like, if you know, you know, you know. It's just if you know, you know.
You know what I just reminded myself of? When Santino was like, Kelly. If you know, you know, you know, you know. There. I'm going to add a bunch to them now. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, JS Cal. We got PWS here. It says, thoughts on the AJ Styles promo during commercial. It was AJ's promos are always a little something. But he was basically saying that someone was out to get him. I presume that was Dominic. And then he was talking some shit on Grande Americano. And that was the gist of that, right? I'm not forgetting anything else?
A lot of people interpret that as him calling out WWE and Triple H. Like somebody... Yeah, like go back and listen to...
And basically what they were saying was like, you didn't get it. Like, you didn't win. Like, that...
Cut.
Stephanie, or Sean, what's going on with Stephanie? Is she injured or dealing with something? Found it weird. Give me your scores. Give me your grades about tonight's show. If this is the first time you're watching me.
The 20th and maybe even the one after that, there is a 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific start time for the next several weeks on TV. So keep that in mind for your future Monday Night Raws. Raw tonight did...
But maybe like drop a super chat or something like that. I would be willing to do that.
About the WWE product, there's a lot not to like about the WWE product. But right now, I just don't feel a level of excitement outside of the obvious in WWE. And this is a wrestling-wide thing. It's just not a WWE thing. We're not going to hold them accountable for putting on boring shows either. They're not the only one. Everybody's putting on boring shows, lifeless shows, shows with no soul, programs that don't make sense. Monday night has become safe, and I feel like with Monday Night Football, that's not going to really help the cause on Monday nights. WrestlePalooza is coming along nicely. It's going to be a big deal. We got several matches announced already. John Cena versus Brock Lesnar. We have Stephanie Vicaire, who was not on the show tonight, which we were scheduled to get a contract signing, and we did not get a contract signing with Io and Stephanie Vicaire. I don't know what happened there. I don't know why these segments continue to get announced and then all of a sudden pulled at the last minute. Hopefully everybody is all right. Stephanie Vicaire and Io Sky for the vacant Women's Championship. Cody Rhodes looks to be returning on Friday night. Hopefully we get Cody versus Drew McIntyre on the show. The Usos versus Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker has been announced for the show. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And the big one, CM Punk and his wife, AJ Lee versus Seth Rollins and his wife, Becky Lynch. Mixed tag team match now made official. The worst kept secret over the last 2 weeks in all of pro wrestling was this particular match taking place at WrestlePalooza. Don't know what else could be added. But the big thing tonight on the show was the return of AJ Lee. First time in over 10 years, she's made an appearance on Monday Night Raw. Friday was monumental. Friday was absolutely incredible. She came back Friday night, tore Chicago down, Allstate Arena blew the roof off the joint. CM Punk was thrilled to have his wife back in the company alongside of him. It takes the storyline from borderline middle of the road to now it adds a little bit of a personal feel to it because now Punk's wife is involved alongside Rollins' wife. And the vision has become instantly more enjoyable and more interesting with Becky Lynch's inclusion. No words were said by AJ Lee on Friday night. She came out after CM Punk basically told Becky Lynch, you're going to regret putting your hands on me. I'll never put my hands on a woman, but I have somebody I know that will. And that woman was AJ Lee. She came out, a couple of Luthez press on Becky Lynch, big slap right across the face for retaliation against Becky Lynch for what she did to AJ's husband. And she took the Intercontinental Championship with her as a souvenir. Tonight she showed up on the show, and tonight was legitimately her first words on a WWE program in over 10 years. This did not go off as well as Friday night. Not to say that it was a bad segment, but I felt like the segment went on and on and on and on, and I felt like it could have been shortened to feel a little bit more impactful. I understand they wanted to give AJ Lee a free microphone and have her go out there and say whatever she wanted after 10 years, which is beautiful and it's perfectly okay. The thing is, the entire segment dragged on to a point where it took up a good portion of the second hour. By the time this segment was over, we were already going into the second half of the show. AJ Lee still cuts a better promo than 80 to 90% of the women's roster. Some people on that roster just don't get it. Some people on that roster just don't have natural charisma. Some people on that roster are just manufactured to a point where they speak and you don't believe a word out of their mouth. Everything is overly scripted. Everything just feels completely forced. AJ Lee spoke tonight for the first time in 10 years, and you got a glimpse as to why everybody is so in love with her. You got a glimpse as to why everybody is so pro AJ Lee. If you're not, you can fuck off. You can go watch the other fucking show where nobody has a fucking personality, and honestly, nobody's even getting fucking television time outside one person, two persons, people. Two people on that show, period. AJ Lee has personality, and the most important thing that she did tonight was be real with everybody. She offered a glimpse into who she is. She offered a glimpse as to who she is, where she's been, why she went away, and why she's back. Sounds kind of simple. The simplest of things were handled tonight. I don't want to make this about the other show, but I'm in a bad mood. It doesn't take a lot to tell us where you've been, why you're back, and why you were gone for 10 years. Some people can't get across why they've joined the company and what the fuck they're doing here. Some people can't level with you and let everybody know how you're feeling. Be real with them. The reason why people are so involved with AJ Lee is because she connects on a personal level where others do not. Gee, man, it sounds like you got the recipe for what makes a successful pro wrestler. Why do you think her husband is so fucking popular? Why do you think it made Bryan Danielson so popular? The best pro wrestlers are the ones that you can connect with. The best pro wrestlers are the ones who are real. The best pro wrestlers are the ones who show you exactly who they are, and they're not playing some silly fucking character. It's the reason why Bray was so fucking loved, especially when he returned. The recipe for a great character on television, on a pro wrestler, or on a pro wrestling show, is very simple. And AJ Lee showed you why exactly it works. It was the perfect setup, and it was a very simple setup. I did not know she was going to come out wearing the Intercontinental Championship. The Intercontinental Championship around AJ Lee's waist did look good. And it was used as a vehicle to get across what she wanted to say, what she needed to say. She used it as a vehicle to lure Becky Lynch into a match at WrestlePalooza. Because she knew both her and her husband, Seth Rollins, were both cowards.
If you're an illegal alien, this runway is your future, because you're headed home. I'm Christina.
The biggest show that WWE puts on all year outside of WrestleMania. For reasons that are clearly obvious. We'll talk about what AJ Lee said in the segment tonight, cutting her first promo a little bit later on in the show. The other thing that people are talking about tonight is Jey Uso. Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso are back. The Usos are back. Tag team division can certainly use them. But by the end of the show, people are already thinking that this reunion is going to be short-lived. LA Knight and Jey Uso do not like each other. They both want the same thing. They both want Seth Rollins, and they both want the World Heavyweight Championship. Unlucky for them, neither one of them is going to be the World Heavyweight Champion. There was some vast miscommunication on Monday night in the opening segment between Jey Uso and LA Knight. The Vision causing problems once again. LA Knight sees clearly. I don't know if Jey Uso is seeing clearly. He ate a big splash from Bronson Reed. And apparently Jey Uso is blaming LA Knight for the miscue in the opening segment. Jey Uso doesn't want anything to do with LA Knight. LA Knight gets Bronson Reed in the main event, which has been the same main events for the last 5 months here on this show. It's somebody, one of the baby faces versus someone in the Vision. Usually it's a tag team match. Tonight it was a one-on-one match. LA Knight got Bronson Reed in the main event. Jey Uso did not want to back up LA Knight. Jimmy Uso did. Because he's on Raw and he's got a problem with the Vision and he's here for the Vision to take care of them. At the end of the show, Jey Uso did come out to help his brother. He did not come out to help LA Knight. He got his revenge on LA Knight, and he speared LA Knight for the miscue in the opening segment of the show. So now they're even. But there was an audible ooh and ah from the Milwaukee crowd tonight, some of which turned to boos. And now people are asking if Jey Uso was going heel. Jey Uso is not going heel. This is the same thing that started going into WrestleMania. Is Cody Rhodes going heel? No. Going into SummerSlam. Is Cody Rhodes going heel? No. 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 The top babyface in the company is not going heel. I don't know why everybody is just so quick to say, oh, that's it. It's a heel turn. Jey Uso's going heel. Jey Uso sells more merch than anybody on the fucking brand. And yes, let's turn him heel and make an absolutely terrible business decision. Why would WWE do that? They just got the Usos back together. Is another reason why he's not going heel. Do you know what I think it is? It's Jey Uso showing a little bit more edge. It's Jey Uso just showing you that Uso penitentiary Uso. Why does everything gotta be, oh, it's a heel turn. Oh, it's a heel turn. Oh, he's turning into a bad guy. If anybody turns heel in this case, it's LA Knight. LA Knight might join the Vision. We don't know. Jey Uso does not need a heel turn, nor will WWE turn him heel. LA Knight could be the recipient of a heel turn. And if WWE was tasked with choosing one or the other, I think they choose LA Knight to turn heel over Jey Uso. It doesn't make any sense for Jey to go heel. You're doing more damage than good there. Plus, again, Jimmy would be lost. For the first time in months, Jimmy finally felt like he belonged on the show, standing next to his brother Jey. They felt equal. They felt like they were both useful at the same time. They are stronger together than they are separated. Jimmy does not survive on his own. Jey is boring on his own. It's the same shit. And you saw what they did tonight in the opening segment. They finally felt like something substantial after months. So I don't know why you would want Jey Uso to go heel. If LA Knight can't beat the Vision, you might as well join them. And I don't think it stops there. They're going to need more than just a member. They're going to need members. We'll see what happens. WrestlePalooza's on the horizon in that tag team match with the Usos and the Vision, which is basically the same match as SummerSlam, just minus Roman Reigns, which there's no real creativity. But the match is made for WrestlePalooza. It will be the Usos reunion against Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker on September 20th. The other thing that made the rounds tonight, and people are already jumping on the bandwagon of this is a shoot. This is not a shoot. AJ Styles. There was news today reported by Sports Illustrated in an exclusive that AJ Styles did send feelers out about potentially finding work elsewhere when his WWE contract is up. WWE tonight gave AJ Styles a microphone during the commercial, which they very much wanted you to see. During the commercial, which you could find all over social media. During the commercial, which if you watch via VPN, you saw it internationally, which WWE knows. AJ Styles is not going anywhere. For all the people that are already claiming, he's going to AEW, I'm not telling you that it's impossible. But AJ Styles, his contract isn't up until at least the spring of 26. He's got several more months to go. Whatever WWE showed you tonight on television, or I should say whatever you saw tonight via social media or VPN internationally, WWE wanted you to see. It all started because AJ Styles' son replied to somebody who has been disgruntled about the way AJ Styles has been used creatively. And AJ Styles' son agreed with said comments on Instagram. You don't think that WWE saw this? You don't think WWE is now going to turn it into something that's going to get the people talking? You all fell for it hook, line, and sinker. I am not falling for such games. The feud between AJ Styles and Dominic Mysterio is far from over. AJ Styles is going to eventually capture the Intercontinental Championship, and this will all be irrelevant. But everybody tends to think, oh, AJ Styles is going to Jacksonville. We're going to get AJ Styles versus Will Ospreay and AJ Styles versus Kenny Omega. Sure thing, bro. Sure thing, sicko. Keep dreaming. Keep dreaming. It's all they know how to do over there, man. Constantly bring in ex-WWE guys and feed their fucking fan base dream matches that should have happened fucking seven or 8 years ago. Monday night was okay. It wasn't a blow-away show by any means. There's enough here for us to talk about, and we're going to get into it tonight. This is your Monday Night Raw review. It is September 8th, 2025. Thank you guys for joining me here on your Monday nights. Super chats are open. Get them on in. It's the best way to support the show. We'll hang out at the end of the show. Any questions, comments, or concerns, whatever you got, fire away, man. We'll hang out with our cold beverages at the end of the show. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Cameo. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications. Go check out all of the great content on the channel. There is plenty to get lost in. We uploaded again this weekend, talking about
Lyra tried going for Nightwing. She dropped Raquel, though, partially because her back was hurt. She was selling that. Also because she saw Roxanne hop up on the apron. Roxanne Perez was out there. Valkyria and Rodriguez, they traded counters until Valkyria applied a deep cradle, only for 2. She hit a Shining Wizard, did Lyra. She went up top. She couldn't quite get her footing, and then Raquel got up, grabbed her, hit a Tejana bomb, and pinned her to win the match. So Raquel Rodriguez comes away the winner. This was good stuff. I enjoyed this match. Yeah, there might have been a couple of spots where it was a little slow, but the match I thought was really good. Raquel has really upped her game since the public feedback that she got from Kevin Nash. When Kevin Nash was talking about on his show how she needs to work bigger. You know, she does come across as one of the bigger women in that division. And so she needs to work bigger because he felt like she was selling too much. And then, you know, I remember hearing about that and thinking, you know what? He's not wrong. He's not wrong. And then somebody in an interview asked her about it. She said she wasn't offended by it. You know, there's a lot of wrestlers who probably would have responded passive-aggressively, or they would have shot back, you know, at the person. And she was like, oh, well, if Kevin Nash is saying that, then that's something I think I'm going to have to look into doing. You know, she took it as constructive criticism, which I think is how he intended it. And since then, you do notice her working, you know, very much in the way that he had suggested in her matches. But she's had some good matches on TV against different people. So, you know, slowly but surely building up her profile to where at some point in 2026, you know, I could see her holding either the Intercontinental title or the Women's World title. You know, not right now, not anytime in the near term, because they have enough people in that mix. But she'll get there. And Roxanne, too. You know, Roxanne is destined for that spot as well. But I enjoyed this, and also good for Lyra because the crowd seemed more invested in Lyra than they have since, I guess, the Becky feud. But then I thought to myself, well, she hasn't really wrestled lately. So, I don't know. I mean, maybe they were always invested in her. We just haven't had the chance to really see the crowd get into one of her matches in a while. I don't know, but she hasn't really been involved in a match like this on TV in some time. A lot of it's been these backstage segments where she's talking about Bayley, who apparently she didn't give a shit about, but now she does. I don't know, but the crowd was invested in Lyra. They were cheering for her, getting behind her, so that was a good sign. Now, in the back after this, the War Raiders were palling around with Penta. Remember, because they wrestled together in that 6-man tag recently. So then Penta sees Adam Pearce, and he grabs Adam, He goes, Adam, everybody loved Penta when he came to WWE. But he wondered, why don't you love Penta? And Pierce was confused. He goes, what do you mean? Of course I like Penta. Penta tells him that your reigning Intercontinental Champion is a pendejo. And he wants a title match. So then they are interrupted by Rusev. Rusev reminds Pierce that his plan was for him to return, crush Sheamus, and then get a title shot. He didn't specify which title. Penta got in his face, so Pierce made the match between Penta and Rusev for this show. As I said at the beginning of this, we came into this show. There was no match between LA Knight and Bronson Reed. There was no match between Penta and Rusev. And there was no match which was about to take place here in a little bit between Asuka and Nikki Bella. This fucking guy came into this show with 3 matches that ended up happening and taking place that were made in the course of the show. And I ask you again, what do these GMs do during the course of the week? We need some kind of vlog on WWE's YouTube channel to follow these guys around, just so we get a sense of what they do during the course of the week. I want that job. Backstage, AJ Styles told Dragon Lee that he just got done talking about how he had nobody to help watch his back, and then Dragon Lee showed up. So he wanted Dragon Lee to know that I got your back when you need it. Jimmy Uso showed up and shook hands with AJ, and they're all smiles like they're all good friends. Jimmy then spots his brother, Matt Fisher, activating Bree mode. How dare you? But he says it's worth it. It is worth it.
I am the last.
Shut the fuck up. You know, you're pushing your luck now. You're pushing your luck. Fuck that tree. You are pushing your luck. He goes from Bree mode to the learning tree. How dare you? Thank you, Matt. But Jimmy spots his brother, so he tells AJ, I'll catch up with you. So he goes off to talk to Jay, because he notices that Jay has his bag slung over his shoulder, and he looks like he's leaving. And so Jimmy goes over and goes, what are you doing? And, Jay tells him that he's leaving. Jimmy's like, well, LA Knight's got this match coming up later tonight with Bronson Reed. And Jay wasn't interested in sticking around and helping him. He goes, it's none of my business. And Jimmy said, the vision is our business. Jay asked, how is helping LA Knight going to help me win back my world championship? How's that going to help us in our tag match at WrestlePalooza? Jay said they needed to make them all acknowledge the two of them or smash them. And Jimmy told Jay that you're not sounding like yourself. I thought he was going to hand him a fucking Snickers at this point, since Snickers sponsors this show. He goes, you're not sounding like yourself. You're actually starting to sound a lot like Roman. And Jay said that maybe sounding like himself wasn't working. And then he just proceeded on his way through the metal detector and on his way out of the building. And I thought to myself, even before we got to what happened at the end of the show, I wrote character development, ? I go, wow. We're actually getting some character development with Jey Uso for the first time in a long time. I loved all the character development with him when he was, giving Sammy the side eye in the Bloodline. That was the best version of Jey Uso. When he was still a heel, and they brought Sammy in, and he was the one guy who just would not trust him. He didn't like him. He didn't want him there. He would look at him like he, just wanted to kill this guy. And then eventually, slowly, he kind of warmed up to him. And, since then, we really haven't had a whole hell of a lot. In terms of recent character development, he's the yeet guy. He comes out and does, yeet. That's about it. So, any kind of character development with this guy on the show is a welcome change for me. Now, after that, it was time for the big segment. It was time for the Raw return for the first time in over 10 years of AJ Lee. and she skipped out to the ring, and what was wrapped around her waist? The Women's Intercontinental Championship that she stole from Becky Lynch at the end of SmackDown on Friday night. She got in the ring and she introduced herself to all the newer fans who weren't around 10 years ago, who were wondering why their millennial parents were freaking out so much on Friday, which is true. Her name is AJ Lee, and she is your favorite wrestler's favorite wrestler. She recalled retiring 10 years earlier, and when she said, 10 years ago I retired, and the fans booed. She apologized. She said she felt that she had accomplished all of her dreams in wrestling, and it was the end of her story. She didn't talk about the severe neck injury that she had either. That was kind of glossed over in all this, but that was one of the reasons why she stepped away from the ring. She says she didn't think there was any way that she would return to the ring again, wearing jean shorts 2 sizes too small. She says she went on a journey to accomplish a lot of other crazy dreams that she had, and she did it. She said that most importantly, she went on a mental health journey. She said that she wasn't happy. She needed to take care of herself and just get herself right. She said that when she realized this, she went to therapy. And the fans cheered, and she goes, "Therapy, yeah, let's hear it for therapy." Just kind of like in a joking way, but then she got a therapy chant from the crowd. Finally, wrestling fans, the most important step is just acknowledging the fact that you have a problem. That's a great step for all the wrestling fans out there. So she says she found a way to turn all of the mental chaos into her superpower. She said that it's a daily fight, but she said anybody who is fighting that battle should know that they are worth it. She said that it was one thing to see her husband in the ring with Seth Rollins, or Drew McIntyre, or John Cena, but it was another to see him in the ring with Becky Lynch. And she said that she wanted to like Becky. She really did. She said Becky is a rebel and a New York Times best-selling author. Somebody in the crowd shouted out at her, "You did it first." So she acknowledged it and said, "Yeah, I did it Mick Foley did it first, but she said, "Yeah, I did it first." She said that she and Becky could have been friends, but Becky had to go and motorboat her husband. When did that take place? What was the episode? I need to go back and see. I must have missed this. When did Becky motorboat CM Punk? Maybe that was during one of the commercial breaks. I must have missed that. So she was interrupted by Becky's music. And Becky walked out wearing these just wild, ridiculous red shades. And AJ waved at her from the ring. So an angry Becky spoke from the aisle and complained about AJ having her title belt. Becky called herself the great... She called herself the Learning Tree. Fuck that tree. She said, "I am the Learning Tree." A great sense of dread overwhelmed me. It happened when she slapped him. She motorboated him when she slapped him. Okay. Loves cats wants to know what does that mean? Motorboat. Don't worry, somebody in the chat will educate you. I am sure. So AJ apologized, claiming that she completely forgot that she was even wearing the belt. She said that she wore it all weekend around the house and even wore it to bed the night before. She also noticed that Becky had a nice shiner because Becky had taken the shades off. She got all worked up. She goes, "I noticed you got a nice shiner there under one of your eyes." And so then Becky quickly put the shades back on. AJ wondered if she caused the shiner, and she said that she blacks out sometimes, so she can't remember. She laid the belt on the mat, and she told Becky, "Come and get it." Becky told AJ to keep her hands off her title. She said that she already had to bathe in bleach after touching her greasy husband. Speaking of which, where is your husband? She wanted to know. So a CM Punk chant broke out. Becky asked, what kind of man hides behind his wife? She said she would show AJ what a proper man and champion looks like. And that was the cue for the World Heavyweight Champion to enter, and we got Seth Rollins. Burn it down. Out he walks. Becky was all worked up. Seth tried to calm her down. Rollins played it cool and told AJ they could make this real easy. Just give Becky her belt back. Just give her belt back, because we all know that we could just turn around and leave this dump of a city. They were in Milwaukee tonight. I've not been to Milwaukee. I cannot comment on whether or not Milwaukee is a dump. I'm sure there are some very nice people in Milwaukee, but I cannot comment one way or the other. So AJ said that was a good idea. She never thought that she could just give it back. But actually, she had a better idea. She said Becky could come to the ring and take her title back, and then she would give her another black eye, or she would give Becky the title back if they agreed to a tag team match. Her and CM Punk against Becky and Seth Rollins. So Rollins said he knows AJ's been gone for a while, 10 years, and didn't understand how things work around here, but I'm the champion. He said Raw is his show, and the fans are his people. Rollins said that he was going to enter the ring, take the title, and give it back to his wife. So Rollins got into the ring, and AJ hopped over the belt, and then blocked Rollins' path. So he tried again, and again, she stood in his way. CM Punk at this point walked out. Unbeknownst to Becky Lynch, who should have heard the crowd squealing, but she was none the wiser, Punk walks out behind her, wearing an AJ Lee t-shirt, by the way. He's wearing his wife's merch. And he's standing behind Becky until she accidentally backs into him. Punk then walked right past her, entered the ring. He grabbed Rollins, picked him up for a GTS. Rollins, though, slipped out of the ring. So Rollins picked up the microphone, and he agreed to the mixed tag match at WrestlePalooza. And AJ picked up the Intercontinental title, she kissed it, and then she chucked it out of the ring, and it landed on the floor. And so now the match is official for WrestlePalooza. It was a long segment, longest segment on the entire show. I didn't clock it, but clearly it was the longest segment. And it was a very good segment. And anybody who had forgotten how good AJ is on the microphone, you were reminded of that tonight. She just the way she carries herself, during her promos. She has a certain confidence on the mic that not everybody has, and not everybody even in the women's division has. She's very, very good. She has a way of communicating with the crowd. She has that kind of girl next door, kind of bashful, but she can change on a dime. Because she was always the crazy girl. She went through that storyline where she was the crazy girl. So she can play it different ways. But you were reminded of how good she really is. And I thought the verbal exchange with her and Becky, and there's more that they could do. And they've already announced that they're going to have a face-to-face next week. All four of them. It's going to be Punk and AJ, Seth and Becky. What more they could say that we haven't already heard, I don't know. But that's going to be the go-home segment for their tag match. That'll be on the show next week. But the crowd ate it up. The crowd was very happy to see AJ out there. Becky, again, did a very good job of playing the heel, who was all wound up and didn't know what to do with herself. And then again, AJ used some of her promo time to incorporate her messaging about mental health. I know that was a big deal to her, in the years that have gone by since she left WWE. I know she talked about it in her book many years ago, so that was nice. So I just thought this was a home run segment here. And AJ is going to be a very big addition to that women's division. Outside of the matches that she can have, it's for this reason. When you put a microphone in her hand, she's very good. And so whoever she's going to work with, whoever she's going to feud with, she'll work with Roxanne maybe at some point, right? Because Roxanne grew up a big AJ Lee fan. And I'm sure they'll go back and forth about that, and that history there. And then AJ and Liv Morgan, when Liv Morgan comes back, right? There's lots of potential matches for her. And she'll be a champion at some point, whether it's World or Intercontinental. She's back full time. This is not a part-time thing. This is not a nostalgia pop. She signed a contract. It's a multi-year, full-time deal, which means she's going to be on the show most weeks, and she's going to have the chance to work with all these different women, including some women that are probably on SmackDown right now. We'll see that down the road as well. So I like this. This was easily the best thing on the entire show. Speaking of Therapy. You know who needs therapy? Besides most of the people that I see leaving comments on Twitter on most days. You know who needs therapy? Bailey. Bailey could use a good therapist right now. We got another video with her. She doesn't know what the next step is, but she knows that the last person she wanted to hurt was Lyra. She hurt a lot of people in the past, and most of them deserved it. They forgave her because she's a good person. So Bailey's dark side, we can hear the dark voices. And so we hear the dark voices talking, telling her, save it for your diary. She knows. She knows. My God, can you imagine if I had to hear that in my head every day? I would go crazy too. She's hearing voices, I'm hearing Bree mode. I don't know which is worse. But the voices are telling her, save it for your diary. You know what you have to do to make it right. Then we hear normal Bailey say, I'll make it right. So this all feels like it's building to her just coming on television and beating the absolute fuck out of Lyra Valkyrie. I mean, that has to be where this is going, right? It has to be. Or they go with my idea, which was to have the split personality Baileys, but in a way where we get babyface Bailey some weeks, and then we have heel Bailey. She could play both. She could be a babyface, and she could be a heel. Maybe she could even do that on the same show in different segments. But there's a beating coming for Lyra Valkyrie. That much I think is obvious. Maze wants to know, do girls still use diaries? I don't know, we had Dawn was in here. Dawn, do you have a diary? I don't know. What are you asking me for? The fuck should I know? Anybody in the chat who wants to help out Maze, let them know. Yeah, women probably still have diaries, but it's in their phone. Everything is digital now. It's stored in the cloud. It's a lot safer to have it on use pen and paper, for the record. We had Penta against Rusev. Penta hit an early backstabber and went for a pin. Rusev, though, kicked out at 1. Short time later, Rusev tossed Penta onto the announce desk. And then with Penta up against the ring steps, Rusev charged in. Penta moved, so Rusev crashed into the steps. Late in the match, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, and Grayson Waller showed up at ringside. You know, I forgot to mention that during one of the commercial breaks, the New Day and Grayson Waller, they were interviewed. And they're still in mourning over losing their tag team titles, which at this point was, how long ago did they lose their titles? 2 months ago? 3 months ago? 4 months ago? I don't know how long it's been. It's been long enough. But they were in mourning. But then they were introduced as, like, Mourning Waller, Mourning Kingston, and, of course, Mourning Woods. Ha! Yes. So, here they come. Kofi Kingston, Mourning Woods, and Grayson Waller. They show up at ringside. Penta took out Kingston and Waller with a flip dive. Penta then set up for a suicide dive to Rusev after he low-bridged Rusev out of the ring. But as he came to the ropes, Rusev caught him with a punch. And he extinguished that attempt pretty quickly. Back in the ring, Penta hit a code red, which Joe Tessitore called a Mexican destroyer. This was definitely not a destroyer. And it wasn't effective anyway because Rusev kicked out. So then Penta went to the ropes. Woods climbed up on the apron. He ran into a Penta kick. Penta then dove at Rusev, who caught him with a Machka kick out of midair. Almost kicked his head off. And then he covered him and he got the pin. Now, something I noticed here at the very end could be absolutely nothing. Rusev was selling an arm injury. I can't remember if Penta did the arm snap during the match. Maybe he did when I looked away for a second, because, you know, sometimes Penta will use the sacrifice. If I missed it and he used the sacrifice, then that probably would explain it. But I don't recall Penta, like, working over the arm specifically. But he was holding his right arm very close to his chest. And when the referee went to go raise his arm, Rusev told him, no, use the other arm. Hopefully it's nothing. Hopefully he was just selling. Because the man just tapped out Sheamus and he pinned Penta. This is not the time for him to be getting an injury here. I feel like we've been hearing about a lot of different injuries anyway in wrestling lately. This is not the time for Rusev to go down with any kind of an injury, so hopefully nothing. As far as Penta goes, can we please get Rey Fenix on this show? Can we have Rey Fenix? I can't even remember the last time we saw Rey Fenix and Andrade as a team. It had to be the TLC match at SummerSlam. So, I mean, their team appears to be over. I know Rey Fenix last week was on Main Event, so that's what he's been doing. Move him over to Raw. Get him involved in this story. We can get the Lucha Bros and the New Day. We got the Usos reunited, so at some point we can get the Lucha Bros and the Usos as well. You know, there's different ideas that you can work with here. So just move him over to Raw, and let's get the Lucha Bros back together, because I think Penta could absolutely have a run, you know, as the Intercontinental Champion. I just don't get the sense that that's in the cards right now for him. If it is, great, then go ahead and pursue that. But if not, I say let's get the two of them back together. It'll give Rey Fenix something meaningful to do. Penta finds, you know, his legitimate brother, not just the, you know, my brother in arms, like his actual brother, to come back him up, and we can get some kick-ass tag team matches out of it. During a break, Vic Joseph interviewed Dominic Mysterio about his AAA Mega Championship match, which is coming up at Worlds Collide this Friday. And he walks out. Now, again, they're on the concourse somewhere. Dom walks in, and the fans are going nuts for him. I mean, they're cheering him like a babyface, and they're singing to him. And they're just ignoring him, because I don't think they were expecting that kind of reaction. Jimmy Uso, now that they come back from break, Jimmy Uso approaches LA Knight backstage. Jimmy said that they should be on the same page tonight against the Vision. LA Knight is like, he's basically like, what is this we stuff you're talking about here? Knight says he wasn't interested in anyone's help anymore. He tried to play nice and he got super kicked in the mouth for it. Knight also recalled being cost the world championship by Jay and Jimmy on separate occasions. And he said that if Jimmy really wanted to help, don't help. He said that he's going out there and he's doing it alone. Yeah! All right, there you go. And he was off to the ring soon for the main event. We'll get to that. But first, we got another match to talk about here. Nikki Bella, one-on-one with Asuka. Asuka got her entrance during the commercial break. For shame. For shame. There were dueling chants for both women as the match began. Asuka dodged a baseball slide and then hid behind Kairi Sane. Nikki shoved Kairi aside, allowing Asuka to kick her in the face and take over ahead of a commercial break. Asuka hit a German suplex following the break. Nikki, though, avoided a missile drop kick, and she fought back with strikes and a springboard kick for two. Hey, this one actually connected. There you go. Nikki blocked an Asuka lock and hit an Alabama slam for two. Asuka came back with a roundhouse kick, a spinning heel kick, and then applied the Asuka lock, and she got the submission in form of tap out. So Asuka picks up the win here. I will say this. It was a better outing for Nikki, slightly, than the one that she had with Becky at Clash in Paris, although it looked like she was moving in slow motion a few different times during this match. Thankfully, Asuka won, as she should. And she should win, because right now, in this story that is ongoing right now, with her and Kairi and Io, and I guess, you know, Rhea as well, they need to keep Asuka looking strong for this story. So it only makes sense for her to start racking up some wins. Backstage, Finn Balor, JD McDonough, Raquel Rodriguez, and Roxanne Perez were all together in the Judgment Day clubhouse. Balor congratulated Raquel on her win earlier against Lyra Valkyria, said that Roxanne has the chance to do the same, because she's going to be wrestling Lyra on the show next week. Is that when we see Bayley? Or one of the three faces of Bayley? At least, right? Three faces? We have current Bayley. We have Hugger Bayley. We have Ding Dong Hello Bayley. Did I cover all the different versions? Is there another version of Bayley that I'm missing? Maybe we'll see her next week. But Dominic Mysterio walks in. Balor wondered, where have you been? And Dom said that he was preparing for his AAA Mega Championship match at Worlds Collide against Vikingo. Balor wondered if Dom was busy hanging out with his new best friend, El Grande Americano. Balor said nobody wants to lend a helping hand unless they're getting something in return. And Dom insisted, he goes, it's not like that. Says Americano was just trying to help because it's a lucha thing. You guys just wouldn't understand. So Dom said he might not have needed any help had the others not been banned, and then he was mumbling to himself as he stormed off. So Raquel said, or Roxanne said, maybe I should go talk to him. And she chased after him, and Rodriguez looked like maybe she thought something was up here. Elsewhere in the back, Asuka confronted Nikki Bella. Asuka said that she did to Nikki what Io would do to Stephanie Vicaire. And Nikki, who just tapped out, starts acting all tough. She's acting like a tough girl here. She says, I'm ready for round 2. Sure, why not? Go ahead, give her another ass kicking. So they argued until Nikki shoved Asuka. Camera panned out to show Rhea Ripley, who magically appeared beside Nikki. Ripley asked if there was a problem. Asuka said that she had 2, pointing at them. Asuka called herself the top woman in WWE, so Ripley reminded Asuka that Io, not her, was challenging for the championship at WrestlePalooza. Asuka told her to zip it and left. Then Kairi stood there awkwardly until Asuka called her away. And that led into the main event here on this show between LA Knight and Bronson Reed. Another main event for LA Knight. How do you think this one went? I'll give you one guess. Braun Breaker was there too. He caused a distraction while Knight was at ringside. Back in the ring, Reed put Knight down with a big clothesline. Back at ringside, Breaker caused another distraction, but Knight sidestepped a charging Bronson Reed and shoved him into the ring post. Then Knight ran him into the ring steps. After a break, inside, Knight was in control when Reed tossed him over the top rope to the floor. Reed went to the floor. He charged at LA Knight, who sidestepped him again, and Reed went flying over the timekeeper's barricade and into the timekeeper's area. Knight then climbed on top of the announce desk, and I think he ran from the announce desk to the top of the barricade and then jumped off, and it might have been a double axe handle, but whatever it was, he took Reed down in the timekeeper's area. Back inside, Knight went to the middle rope and then jumped up to the top rope and hit his diving elbow drop. Does he have a name for that? Everyone gives every move a name now. Does he have a name for that thing where he does the double jump there to the top rope? Does he call it like the yeah drop? Yeah! I don't know. I mean, does he have an actual name for it? I'll use the name. I just don't know if he has one or not. I'll assume he doesn't. Maybe because he never wins with it. So there's no point in giving it a name. So Breaker was up on the apron when Knight was about to set up for a BFT. So Knight rushes over to knock Braun Breaker off the apron, but then he turns around and he turns into a Death Valley driver that Bronson Reed calls the Jagged Edge. And LA Knight loses another main event. Hey, at least we didn't get a disqualification. I'll take my victories where I can get them. We went on this horrendous streak of disqualification finishes and main events on this show 4 or 5 weeks in a row. At least we got a clean, well, I can't call it a clean finish, but we got a finish. We got an actual finish here to this match. Now the heels attacked Knight when it was over. Jimmy Uso ran out, and he threw super kicks at Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. Breaker, though, put Jimmy down with a spear. So Jey Uso then makes his entrance. So I guess he never really left, or he had second thoughts. He tried to help his brother. Breaker put Jey down with a spear. Breaker put the Usos next to one another as Reed went to the ropes. He was setting up for the tsunami splash. He was going to crush both twins here at the same time. When LA Knight returned to the apron, he had a chair in his hand, and he blasted Reed in the back with it to knock him off the ropes. Then Knight tossed the chair at Braun Breaker's head. The heels fled while Knight stood tall with the chair. Knight went over to Jey, and he asked, are we good now? Then he helped Jimmy to his feet and they shook hands, but Jey Uso then spears LA Knight. Even though he just helped them. He spears LA Knight, which drew some boos. It was mixed reaction, but there were definitely some boos there from the crowd. Jimmy was surprised. It's not like he saw this coming. He was like, what the hell got into you? And Jey did the yeet gesture, and the fans yeeted him back. Jey, though, had this real angry look on his face while he was looking down at Knight, and he said, now we're even. That's how they went off the show. Or the show went off the air. It was a solid main event between these two. Surprising development that I was not expecting there at the end. Not a heel turn. There's going to be some people who look at this and wonder, does this mean Jey Uso is a heel? Was this a turn? Is it teasing a turn? Oh, it's teasing a turn, sure. But, again, I think that they'd be way more likely to turn LA Knight before they turn Jey Uso. Especially now that they have an Usos reunion to do. And I don't see Jimmy going heel. Although Jimmy may be a heel to some for taking Naomi out of the picture for a while. But yeah, I don't see this as a heel turn for Jey. I see it as something that they will tease. I see it as something where he is adopting a new attitude. And I think it's a welcome change. You know, the Yeet Man stuff will only get you so far. If he's going to be a recurring character on this television show, you know, you need to do something to keep people fresh. You need to do something to keep them interesting. Again, I didn't see that coming at the end there. He was definitely looking more, you know, angry and irate than we normally see him. Good. Anything they could do to help make Jey Uso a little more interesting as a character is okay with me. LA Knight, look, I mean, he continues to be over with the live crowds and he continues to get involved in these main events, which is a spot that you would think, like, oh, that's a great spot for him to be in, but when he constantly loses all the time, and he's lost to all the members now of the Vision, I mean, all of these different combinations of matches, tags and singles, there might have been a tag match in there that he won. I think there was one week he teamed with Punk, maybe they won that one, but in terms of singles matches, you got to go all the way back to Saturday night's main event in mid-July to find a singles match that this man had his hand raised in. And for someone who is still as over as he is, it's actually shocking how they have booked him when it comes to wins and losses. And I think this will be a great test, because people have this kind of debate sometimes, and people have written into the show and have asked the question, do wins and losses really matter anymore in wrestling? There are some wrestlers who would argue that wins and losses don't matter, but there are other wrestlers who would disagree. I'm of the opinion that wins and losses should always matter, and that wins and losses do still matter. They might matter less than they did 30 or 40 years ago. The nature of the wrestling industry and the business and the way these shows are booked, I mean, it's changed so much. So I would agree that maybe it means a little less, but they are still very important. And if you beat somebody enough times, you will beat the credibility right out of them, to the point where the people are just apathetic towards them. And that's the worst thing that you could be. Luckily for LA Knight, despite all of the booking over the last couple of years, these people still go nuts when they hit his music. Do they go as nuts as they did, 18 months ago? Maybe not quite as nuts, but he gets a great reaction. The people still like him. Don't squander that. And every time he goes out there and loses a match, and then he loses another one, I feel like you're chipping away. And it's not too late, but you're chipping away at it. So, it's one of those things where you look at the pros and cons. He's in the main event, but is it really helping his cause? Is it getting him more over than he is now? The answer is no, it's not. He's still over, but it's not getting him more over. It's not really doing him, in my view, any real favors. Now, it could be worse. He could not be on the show at all. That would be far worse. But I would like to see him at least start racking up a few wins here and there. This story with Jey, we'll see where it goes. I don't know where this goes. I don't know if LA Knight gets involved in the tag match at WrestlePalooza and costs the Usos. Again, they're more likely to turn Knight than they are Jey Uso, which would be a bit of a kick in the balls because he is still over. So if they turn him heel, you're squandering, a lot of goodwill that he still has with the fans. So I don't know that I necessarily think now is the time to do that, but we'll see where this story ends up. And look, it's the same with AJ Styles in terms of them telling a story. AJ Styles is someone who has really been a non-factor on this show for a very long time, a good chunk of the year. Now he's working with Dom, but this thing that they have started with him, feeling as if that there are forces in this company that are conspiring against him, that don't want him there anymore. And he posted that photo. It was like a graphic on his Instagram. Was it earlier this week? I think it or last week, of the hourglass with his logo in it, and the sands of the hourglass, right? Kind of teasing that maybe his time is running out. I don't think they're starting a retirement story with him because we're in the middle of John Cena's retirement. They're not going to do the same story. But he has talked about wanting to be retired by the time he's 50 years old. Now, wrestlers say a lot of things. I think AJ still has a few good years left in his body. Maybe he feels otherwise. But is this tied into maybe him either retiring soon or potentially leaving the company? From what I understand, things that have been said, his contract is up, I think, in February. I think before WrestleMania, sometime before WrestleMania. Is he going to re-sign with them? Does he not want to work a full-time schedule anymore? Do I see him going to AEW? I know I get that question sometimes. I don't. Look, wouldn't be shocked if he did because he's got plenty of friends there, but and I know Tony Khan would love to have him. I don't know. I think he's got a good thing in WWE where even when he's done wrestling, he can contribute in so many other ways. But maybe this is feeding into that in some way. I saw his son commented under it might have been under that image. Somebody made a comment about the bad booking or the lackluster booking of AJ Styles, and his son, I guess it was verified to be his son's Instagram account. He posted something to the effect of, agreeing and saying, "You have no idea." I mean, is that part of the story? I don't know. Interesting, though, right? Interesting they're finally doing something with AJ Styles. So they started some things tonight. AJ Lee was still the highlight of the episode. We got 2 matches made official now for WrestlePalooza, in addition to the ones that were already made. No Stephanie on the show is a fail, but I imagine there's a reason for it. I just hope that it's nothing bad. Hopefully she'll be able to wrestle EO as scheduled. Take a look at the Twitter poll. How would you grade Raw tonight from Milwaukee? 28% of you have given this show an A grade. 42% give this show a B. 20% a C, and 9.6% give the show a D. I think that B rating sounds about right. I think that B rating is bang on there. Let's see what you thought of the show. Try to answer some of these questions here, get them on in, go through your super chats. We will also be doing Be the Booker. We need 11 more likes. We get 11 more likes here on the video, we will do at least 1 round of Be the Booker. If we hit that bonus goal in the chat, we'll do 2 rounds. But let's see if we can get the 1. Then we'll go from there. Solomonster is B minus rating. Is B minus rating people? I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means, brother. B minus works too. Victor. We'll start with Victor. It says John Cena is Hulk Hogan to AJ Styles Ric Flair. I don't understand the comparison. AJ was working with Flair in TNA for a while, but I don't know what the comparison is that you're trying to make. Is MJ the most famous person of the last 100 years. Are we talking Michael Jackson or Michael Jordan? Either way, the answer is no. Who had a bigger impact, CM Punk or Randy Orton? CM Punk. And who are the most attractive women currently in WWE? There are several. There are several. I gotta say though, I have a thing for Stephanie. Stephanie Vaquer is a beautiful woman, but so is Io Sky. Lots of beautiful women in WWE. Terrible dry chicken without flavor. The WWE booking of the mid-card title scene really stinks.
Shut the fuck up. Fuck that tree.
Fuck that tree. Our friend Luis coming in with a learning tree. Hey, there's Sidro. I like your Guma here. He's finally carved out some time for me. Says, you have a thing for Steph. I think we all do. I didn't say I was the only one who does. I'm just saying. She's a beautiful woman. But Terrible Dry Chicken says, the WWE booking of the mid-card title scene really stinks under Triple H. They have so much talent, but I feel like Hunter is playing gatekeeper. Triple H's gatekeeping personality is frustrating. I can understand former talents who used to work for WWE being bitter. I can understand their frustration as well. Some people have a right to be frustrated. The booking of the mid-card title scene in terms of like the women's Intercontinental title, much better than the women's US title. Don't even get me started on that. As far as the men's mid-card titles, yeah, I agree. I mean, it's been lackluster. I mean, you don't get any argument from me on that. It could definitely be better. Dry Chicken also says, I'm starting to miss Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as part of WWE's creative process during his 2024 run. At least he understands the audience. Look, The Rock knew how to do right by The Rock. Beyond that, I wouldn't say that WWE needs The Rock right now as part of the creative process. Give me Backshot Salamonster. Says, his take, Y2J won't be employed by WWE nor AEW in 2026. I say you're going to be wrong on that. I say you're wrong. Joseph Stewart, happy birthday to one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, Raven. Today is Raven's birthday. Yes, it is. It is Raven's 61st birthday. Do you remember Raven versus DDP in a steel cage match at Slamboree 1998? I do not. I remember Raven against wasn't it DDP and Raven at Spring Stampede? And then the next night, Raven against Goldberg. I remember that. One of the best matches in Nitro history. Would Raven's gimmick that he did in ECW and WCW work in today's WWE or more in AEW? I think it would work more in AEW. What was the purpose in WCW when they did the Millionaires Club against the New Blood with Eric Bischoff and Vince Russo? They were blowing things up and trying to start from scratch. Right? Didn't they vacate all the titles? And it was like a giant creative reset. And I think the idea was that they were going to try to... The idea was they would try to elevate some of the younger, newer talents by feuding with and working against some of the veteran talents, which in theory is not a bad idea. But WCW is just a creative mess at that point, and they were just too far gone. Also, were you a fan of Sandman and Woman together in ECW? No, I wouldn't say I was a fan of them together. Could the gimmick Sandman did in ECW work in today's WWE and AEW? As the guy who goes around drinking beer and caning people, sure, it could work. But again, more so in AEW than WWE. In AEW, he would have more latitude to be the Sandman than he would in WWE. Buy or sell WCW 2000 or today's WWE run by Triple H. I mean, it's WWE. Again, I think there are people who really have forgotten just how bad things got in WCW there near the end when they ask questions like that. Buy or sell ECW or today's WWE run by Triple H. I mean, there are elements from the old ECW that I wish, maybe we got more of today, but I wasn't like a huge ECW fan back then, so I can't buy on ECW. Why did they want Rey Mysterio to start wrestling without his mask off, or without his mask in WCW in 1999? Because Eric Bischoff was an idiot who didn't know how to market the mask. Or by 99, whoever it was that would have been in charge. I don't know, Bischoff maybe, I think, had already gotten shit canned. Because they were idiots who didn't know how to market Rey Mysterio's mask. Have you seen Robin Hood, King of Thieves with Kevin Costner? I thought it was Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. I think it's Prince of Thieves, brother. What do you think both WCW and ECW could have done to stay in business? Well, I mean, Paul Heyman could have had somebody else running the business end of his company. WCW, to stay in business, I mean, they bankrupted themselves. I mean, by that point, it was too late. It was too late. What they could have done was done a better job of building up their new crop of stars. That would have been the most important thing they could have done. They failed to do that. They went downhill. They just put out a piss poor product. Simple as that. And then it didn't help having people in the hierarchy there who did not like wrestling. I mean, that certainly didn't help. But by the time they were already sick and dying, there was nothing that could be done. They were terminal. It was just a matter of time. What is the difference between Vince McMahon booking or Triple H booking? I would say about 30 years. About 30 years difference. You have a fucking octogenarian who has no business being the head of creative in a wrestling company. Vince also seemed very, what's the word? Not rigid. Stubborn, set in his ways. You know, once he set his mind to something, that was it. Nobody could change his mind. He liked what he liked. He's a very weird guy. He's a very, I think, psychologically damaged individual. And even though Triple H may be doing stuff I don't like, and frankly, a lot of the shows can be very fucking boring, some of the stuff that Vince would do on television, while people maybe could laugh at it, it just made for terrible television. And he just wasn't the same person that he was when he was younger, booking the product. It was an awful television show. And there's a difference between having like a bad television show or a show that's just kind of boring. I'm not even saying that that's a good thing. That's not a good thing. But, there are some noticeable differences between the two. We are very lucky to no longer have Vince McMahon booking week-to-week wrestling television. The Sheltered Kid. Truth or Dare? Neither. I didn't play Truth or Dare as a kid, and I don't play Truth or Dare now. So neither one. Death Scythe, last Friday I made some predictions for Dark Side of the Ring Season 7. Well, I've added 3 more, including 2 replacements for the DX riots and the Ring Boy scandal. Here's the full list. Rick Rude, Buck Zumwalt, Sean O'Hare, Hana Kimura, Ashley Massaro, Perry Saturn, Larry Sweeney, Bill DeMott, Jerry Lawler, and Test. I think those are all fine choices. Many of them will probably end up being made at some point. They're not all going to be Season 7, though. Some of them could be Season 8, Season 9, if they make it that far, if they get greenlit. But I like your choices. Joseph Stewart, buy or sell Robin or Nightwing? Robin. Sidro. Uh-oh. My neighbor's lawn looks way better than mine. So I called a landscaper and I asked for a quote. He said the grass is always greener on the other side. He asked for a quote. He gave him a quote. See, that's how you get one neighbor to shoot the other neighbor. When you're a smartass like that. That's how neighbors end up on the news. On the 11 o'clock news. Death Scythe, again, thank you for your Dark Side of the Ring list. And Sidro, thank you. Always good to hear from Sidro. Psycho Sidro. William Sanchez with a $9.99. If the roles were reversed and Punk was the heel, he would definitely GTA Becky. If Baron Corbin can hit her with an end of days, I don't see why not. Maybe Seth will tease a curb stomp on AJ. Maybe they're saving it for the PLE. In fact, that's probably exactly why they're doing what they're doing.
By the power of Valhalla, it's vintage coal tar. Holy shit.
Oh, we got a bomb. It is King Nader with a $51 coal tar. Man, we haven't seen coal tar in a while. I think he's just come out of hibernation. That's also 13 out of 15 on the bonus skull, by the way. Two more $10 or more super chats when we do bonus Be the Booker. Hey, King Nader, thank you. Appreciate it, brother. But yeah, I mean, they don't give shit like that away on TV. If Punk is gonna GTS Becky or anything like that, it's gonna be a WrestlePalooza. They're not gonna give that away on TV. You know what? I'm not reading from this list anymore. Hold on a second. That list was pissing me off. Again, it resets to the top. It's impossible to just read things in order. Fuck that list. Fuck that list, and whoever created that new template and updated it, fuck you too. Some mariachi music going on here. Oh man. Whoever created that, whoever updated that template and actually made it worse, I hope you get hemorrhoids that just feel like the fire of 1,000 suns. Seriously, fuck off. Let's pick up where we left off here. Shall we? You just catch up. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. But William, thank you. Sidro. Here goes Sidro. What did a sea say to a beach? I'm gonna make you wet. Also, what do you call a bald man at night? Moonshine. I like that one. Moonshine. DX Extreme MWE new Be the Booker Supercard poll is up. Vote for Solo Slam. That's right. So saith David. It was Nightbot. It was not Nightbot. Nightbot would not betray me in that way. Adam, again, thank you for that $20 super chat earlier. No message, just showing some love. Citro with a 5. Why will the Giant never win a video game soccer title? Because he only plays FIFA faux fun. Oh my god. And Saudi don't like the Flintstones. But people in Abu Dhabi do. Boo this man. I want you to boo this man. He needs to be booed. He must be booed. Abu Dhabi do. This man is a menace. He must be stopped. The Sheltered Kid, truth, most attractive female wrestler of all time. Dare, yeet, right now. I said, like, prime Tori Wilson was just an absolute knockout. I'll throw her name in the hat. I feel like she doesn't get mentioned as often as she should in those discussions. And that's just me personally. Alexander, LA Knight has potential to be the next Barry Horowitz. Oh boy. You know what? The potential is there. The next Iron Mike Sharp. The next Dwayne Gill. Duff's Vids, Sundays can be sad, but the day before is a Saturday. Why did the hunter miss the buck? He was not aiming directly at it. You should have flipped it. I like the Sunday to Saturday one better. I thought you were about to make some kind of Triple H Young Bucks joke. That totally went a different way than I thought it was going to go. Prince Vegeta.
I might will stop the video. I'll make more tomorrow. Hit that like button, leave a comment. Please go to my channel. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all the support. Until next time, I'll see y'all later.